Why is it that whenever you are most looking for love, that is the precise moment that you are most likely to attract your most toxic and heartbreaking relationships, whether it's because you've been single for a really long time or you're heartbroken? This is the video for you if you are looking to attract a healthy, long-lasting relationship. I'm Sadia Khan, and I have coached thousands of clients to help repair their low self-esteem that may have caused them to be single and are now in healthy, happy relationships. So what I'm going to do is explain exactly the reasons why you're single and then how to overcome these reasons, and then hopefully you can enter a healthy, happy relationship. Now, one of the most common reasons why we are single is because we have this illusion of options. What's happened is, whether it's through Tinder or Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is, firstly, everybody thinks they're an expert now in relationships because they can access understanding of attachment styles and love languages. So they think they're an expert. They secondly think that they understand themselves really, really well when a lot of the times they don't. They then use this lens to select a partner, and if they don't fit every criteria, instead of thinking that we can compromise and we can work on this and we can try and work on this, they just think this is never going to work out. They've got the wrong horoscope. Planets don't align with my planets. They're an avoidant, I'm an anxious, and they immediately cut ties and they think that they can replace this person quite easily. But you'll replace them with a similar person that you just had. They'll have similar problems. And the reason being is most people that you interact with will have some things that you'll have to work on in order to make that relationship work. Our impatience has been one of the main causes of why we didn't invest in everybody, because we think everybody's far more replaceable than they truly are. Another big reason why people are so much more single than they were before is they're coming from a lot more trauma than previously. Now, on the surface, we have less levels of, physical abuse is less common as it was back in the day. And, you've got some versions of trauma that are decreasing, but the main trauma that's increasing is you're seeing your parents divorce at a really exponential rate. The demonstration of negative marriages or, broken homes creates a temporary vision of relationship. The children grow up thinking relationships are going to be temporary. So when they enter those relationships, they try and figure out exactly when it's going to end. And to prevent themselves going through that heartbreak, they then prepare for the divorce rather than preparing for the marriage in that relationship. Another key reason why people are finding themselves more single today than ever before is never before has it been so celebrated to hate the opposite gender. It is endless. Where you go on women's accounts that are coaching women, 9 times out of 10, they'll tell you men are trash, men are bad, men are this, men are that, men are blah, blah, blah. A lot of the time, these women come from broken homes themselves. They have a poor relationship with their father. They assume all men are like this. So they are preparing their audience to have a distaste towards men. They're preparing their audience to be prepared when the man walks out because they've got their own abandonment issues, and they are preparing to women to put men through so many tests and manipulation tactics just so that she can remain on top because it's a game rather than a connection. Similarly, you will see countless men who have lost their masculinity because they've been cheated on many times by girls. They've been manipulated by girls. They're the ones that pick up a mic and start talking about it. A masculine man with a good, healthy relationship will not hire out a podcast studio to talk at you about how women are terrible. Masculine men don't do that. They don't become gossip girls. Whereas these ones that have lost it, with women then try and find a reaction by wanting to vent online, but they're also not a representation of what's really going on. And I know I talk a lot about the extremes, but as a therapist, you learn some of the extremes, but the majority of people are just there to vent from their own heartbreak. So the reason why we're so skewed is the illusion of options, the breakdown of the home, and also having these negative stereotypes about the opposite gender. The first ingredient to developing a healthy relationship, and this is a really tricky one, it's developing a tolerance for being alone. And what I mean by alone is not isolated. Isolated and single are not the same thing. People think I can't be alone. What they imagine alone to be is just like in a padded room all by themselves. That's not what I mean by being alone. And what I mean by being alone is being comfortable with the idea that you might not have a partner, but you will have to gain your social connections from other sources. What people who cannot do that, and a lot of people when they're traumatized, particularly when they come from a single parent home, and there was some trauma there, they don't trust easily. They really, really don't trust easily. So what will happen is that they will only let a tiny, tiny people into their life, very, very tiny skew of people. And they will almost say it like it's a superpower. My circle's so small. I've only got 2 friends. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. But really, that's an indicator that you can't connect healthy. Human beings are built to be in tribes. In hunter-gatherer times, as our brain was evolving, people would be breastfed by other women, CH, earn that trust. They just put all their trust in that person, and then they can't let go of that person because they haven't spread out the trust over time and they haven't got other people that they can trust in their life. So you don't want to use that time of being single as a time of being isolated. Use that time to figure out your own identity. When people can't be alone, they don't have their own identity. So what will happen is they go from one relationship to another, kind of adapting and morphing into that new person's identity and losing themselves. And as a result, their relationships become more and more draining because they don't recognize themselves anymore. So you want to make sure that you enjoy that single time. Find your identity in that space and then look for somebody who aligns with this identity that you've realized is genuinely you rather than just remnants of the relationship or just copy and paste whatever man or woman you're with. You just kind of morph around them, because I have to be realistic with people nowadays because divorces are so high, and being, single, and their predictions of how many people are going to be childless and single in their 40s is getting higher and higher. My advice would be to really figure out what you want in the long run. What is it that you want out of a relationship? If it's, I want a companion, then you have to pick somebody who shares your same goals in life. Thus, if you just really, really want a companion, pick somebody whose values are aligned, who shares the same goals, and then try and look for people in that environment. That might be work, it might be your leisure activities, it might be through mutual friends, but somebody who has similar values more than anything else. If you are looking for kids and you're saying to yourself, I don't really care that much about the compens, but I really, really don't want to start a family. I really, really want to start a family. The biggest mistake you can make in your life, if you're really want to start a family, is picking the wrong person to have kids with. It is a death sentence. You'll regret it until the day you die. And the reason being is you'll either separate and you then have to share your child with this person that you can't stand for the rest of your life, or you will have to raise your kids in a way that is not aligned because this person is not like you. You then pass on that trauma to the kids. They learn that mum and dad hate each other. They learn that they can't be themselves with both parents because if they express how much they love their dad, their mum will get upset. If they express how much they love their mum, their dad will get upset. Those children come out so broken. So what they end up doing is picking a side. They usually end up picking their mum's side. They pick a side and then they become very vulnerable and susceptible to manipulation as adults. So you really traumatize your kids when you rush that decision. The better thing to do is when you're picking a partner and you just want to start a family, you constantly ask yourself, if I was to marry this person and have children with them, would they be a reasonable and effective co-parent if worst case scenario happened? If worst case scenario happened, would I be like, okay, to just share my life or share my child with them? If the answer is, oh my God, he's an alcoholic or she's a drug addict. And oh my God, I would be terrified if my child was raised by this person alone. Don't give in to that person. Just don't. No matter how lonely you are as single, don't have children with that person. But if you're thinking, no, there would be a good co-parent, worst case scenario, no problem, chai. Oh, use that. And the final thing I would say is have realistic but not low standards. What I mean by realistic, not low, here's what I mean by realistic and not low. Some people think that if you have to go 50-50 with a man, that's low standard. Or if the girl is, not looking as good as she used to 10 years ago and now she's like 33 and now you want a 23-year-old. That's low standards. No, low standards is based on how somebody treats you. I don't care if he's a millionaire or if he's barely scraping by. I don't care if she's a supermodel or she's a 2 out of 10. Base your standards on how somebody treats you. If they treat you well, they are responsive to your texts. They are responsive to your needs. They are happy to make you happy. Their personal decisions don't infringe on your rights. They are intimate. They are sexually and emotionally intimate with you. They're treating you well. You are not settling. Yeah, you are not settling at all. But if on paper they look great, but they treat you terribly, you are automatically settling. So settling is not about who they are, what they earn, what they look like. It's about how they treat you. Make that the focus. When you realize that you can only be with people who treat you well, you will avoid people with deal breakers. Anybody with certain deal breakers, everybody's deal breakers are different. But if your deal breaker is that they're not physically intimate with me regularly enough, I'm going to end up cheating or I'm going to end up being dissatisfied. If that's your deal breaker, don't pursue that person. If your deal breaker is that they are not supportive and I have to do all the financial burden all by myself, that's your deal breaker. Don't pursue them. Make sure you have a very clear understanding of what your deal breakers are. And when somebody infringes on your deal breakers, it's better not to pursue a relationship with that person. But if there's another person in your life who might not be the most attractive, might not be the richest, might not be everything amazing, but they have zero deal breakers. They treat you well. Put your energy into that person. Put all of your energy into the person that treats you well and has no deal breakers. You will realize that your singlehood will slowly start to deplete. You'll slowly stop because most people have options, but they just don't like the options that they have. They just feel uncomfortable, like, oh, but I'm not attracted to my options, or I'm not attracted to the men that approach me. I'm not attracted to the women that approach me. But if that's your level, that's your level. The better thing to do is see the good in who is approaching you. See the good who is being attentive to you. See the good in who is attuned to you rather than just seeing the good in the people that are not invested in you. You will save yourself countless therapy and countless trauma if you only like people who like you. You have a pool of people that like you. You focus on who you're most attracted to, invested to in that. And where people go wrong is they forget who's interested in them. They just laser focus on who they want, laser focus who they're interested in. Whether that person wants them or not, they don't care. They'll keep fighting for it, fighting for the bare minimum. You will suffer because you'll end up alone at some point anyway, when that person gets sick of you begging for their time. So take your pool and only invest in those people. So just remember, the moment you choose those who choose you and you don't forget to uphold your emotional standards, what you require in a relationship you will never suffer in, the form of abusive and toxic relatives, and you'll find your singlehood will slowly disappear. But when you don't do that, unfortunately, you are just prolonging and repeating the cycle of being single. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Hi, I'm Sadia Khan, and you might know me as a leading dating coach. In modern relationships today, I work with men every single day to help give them the blueprint of understanding relationships, women, attraction, and self esteem. So, if you are feeling stuck in your relationships and you want to unlock your full potential, work with me today by clicking on the link, and I look forward to hearing from you.